Everyone, this is my Instagram live with Alina. I am back. I'm going to give this another try. Hopefully we can go live this time. Hello everyone. Hi, happy Sunday once again. I'm superbly excited for my conversation with Alina. Hi everyone. Thank you for taking out the time to join us today. I'm very sure you're going to find this conversation very insightful and useful. So I'm going to invite. Hope you're doing well, everybody. Hi,
Hello,
finally.
it worked.
Yes, it did. Hi, Alina. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm so happy to be doing this and speaking to you. Thank you for
Yeah,
taking
me
out the time.
too. Thank you for thinking of me.
Not at all. Not at all. Actually, I've been following you from my personal account for years, and I've
Oh
always
no.
found your story very inspiring, and I think it needs to be shared with a wider audience once again. So yeah, I thought why not bring you here and have a conversation.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, Elena, I'm going to introduce you very quickly for the
Okay.
audience that may not know about all the good stuff that you've been doing. But please feel free to add anything that I may miss.
Sure.
Okay. So, so Elena is an impact entrepreneur. She is the co-founder and CEO of Kleiderly, that is into sustainable fashion and helping reduce the carbon footprint of the world. She's a chemical engineer by profession and a Forbes 30 under 30. And now Elena is also helping fellow women entrepreneurs through her initiative called Founderland. And Elena, I am truly inspired and I'm so honored to be talking to you today. But is there anything that I've missed? Anything you want to add to your introduction and the things that you have done so far in your career?
Not too much actually. I think I would just kind of summarize it in saying like my goal is really to try and leave the world a better place. So I first wanted to do that through sustainability, and that's still obviously ongoing. We've never solved the world's carbon footprint issues, but I also realized along the journey that like it's really hard for women of color, women from diverse backgrounds like us to receive capital to start their own businesses and get investment because we have a very different kind of network. So I really wanted to help other women like us because it's so important to create a new representation of founders, right? We all look towards people like Steve Jobs and Jeff Bezos, and I want to kind of create a different world so that actually you look up to women entrepreneurs or brown and black women entrepreneurs. So I hope that my work helps to create that, but it's not easy.
Oh, that's so touching. You know, I could feel the passion behind your voice, and I think that's uh, it's all about starting somewhere. And I think you took that initiative to change that mindset that people may have, and even create more awareness for women of color trying to achieve great things. So thank you. That's amazing. I think we'll focus more of our energy and conversation towards that bit. Too
Sure.
then today. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. So Alina, let's backtrack a little bit and start right from the beginning. You're a chemical engineer by profession. Is there something you want to tell us about your childhood and what inspired you to actually go into this field of chemical engineering? And you also started your career after that into sustainability. And I saw your LinkedIn profile. It's you've always been in this space.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to become a chemical engineer? And any tips for future engineers out there?
So when I was younger, I think I was probably like 14 or 15, and my mum gave me the task of reading the encyclopedia in summer holidays, which is not fun. Trust me, I didn't really want to. And as I was reading it, I learned about this thing called climate change. And as I was reading it, I thought, what? We're all like, our earth is in trouble. I can't swim, so if there's flooding, I'm screwed. What are we going to do? Why is not everyone like stopping everything they're doing to just focus on this? Because if our earth is in jeopardy, then we need to do something about it. So I decided, like, from that age, okay, that's what I want to focus on. I really want to do something related to climate change. And I really didn't know how to go about that. And it was actually my mum who helped me find the degree chemical engineering because she knew that I really wanted to do something related to sustainability. And I was always good at like maths and problem solving and putting things together and building things. So she said, oh, you know, check this degree out. Like it really combines making things, putting things together, and sustainability. So it was actually really her helping me out, because I think as a young teenager, it's hard to figure out what you want to do with your life.
Yeah. I think you're so right. Like same for me. I didn't have any mentors to talk to when I was starting my career, and our parents play a big role in those early years. But
Yeah.
yeah, at the age of 14, 15, finding that passion to change the world, like climate change is such a big topic, and I think now it's even a bigger topic than it was
Yeah.
maybe when you were in high school. So
Yeah.
I'm sure there were no role models, there was nobody to actually guide you. So I
No.
guess you were just figuring it out along the way, was it?
Yeah, I think so. I kind of try to figure out, okay, how can I get a job in? My thinking was, okay, if I find something like renewable energy, I was thinking solar power or wind power, then that must be a good place to start. But it was really, really hard when I was looking for jobs to find something in that space, because there just wasn't enough funding behind it. So I ended up getting a job in the energy sector, but it was in the oil and gas space. And I thought, okay, well, I have to start somewhere,
Yeah.
and this is still in energy, so I can at some point move, and I obviously did. But sometimes you just, even if it's not the right thing, you have to just start, because it's so much harder to not have a job and wait for the perfect thing. I actually think you shouldn't wait for the perfect thing. You should go for something and build your experience, and then slowly move to where you need to. So that was my tactic anyway.
That's wonderful. I think a lot of us wait for that perfect opportunity or that perfect job. But if you're getting an opportunity in the industry or in the sector that you're remotely interested in, then why not start, build your experience, and then maybe, pivot your career next. Like
And
that could
also,
be.
it's easier, right? Like when you've got some years of experience under your belt, then you can say, okay, even though I wasn't in this industry, I learned this, this, and this. So it's better than going through the clean slate and being like, oh, I don't know anything, but I want a job in this space. So I definitely recommend, like, if you get an opportunity, to take it, because it's not easy to even get opportunities in the first place.
That's so true. That's so true. And no experience ever goes to waste, right? So you could always use that, like you said, in your next interview or next application or etc.
Yeah, exactly. So my first interview, weirdly enough, when I was 18 or something, my future boss at the time was asking me, what kind of work experience do you have? And I thought, oh, I've only worked in like the local supermarket, so this is really embarrassing. He's going to think I have no work experience. But when I was talking him through what I was doing at the supermarket, he said, this is so relevant, because you have proven that you know how to show up on time, you're reliable, I can depend on you, you're able to face customers. That is skills. So it doesn't matter where you're getting those skills from. You should just take those opportunities, because you don't know how they help you.
That is so true, Alina. And I keep rambling about this again and again on on my social media, is that look for those transferable skills, right? From each job, you
Yes.
have these skills that you can take to your next role. And like you're saying, working at a supermarket or even doing like, odd jobs here and there, freelancing, and even like unpaid internships if necessary, to build those skills up, and then of course use that in your next interview conversation. That's such a good tip. I hope everybody's making notes of
Yeah,
that.
and it really doesn't matter, even if it's like a job you think doesn't have any link to what you plan to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, look for those transferable skills that will help you for life.
Yes.
Amazing, Elena. So then you did chemical engineering and you went in for your first interview and everything went all right. But
Mhm.
how, you started working in the as an employee in these big organizations. But when did that idea to start Kleiderly come to you? What inspired you? And also, how did you take that, leap of faith? I've been there myself, but what made you decide that, okay, I'm not meant to be an employee, maybe I'm meant to be an entrepreneur? So where did that stem from?
So I'd been working for quite a few years, and I'd kept moving jobs. I kept like getting another job and another job and another job, slowly getting to like where I wanted to be, which is in something related to sustainability.
Yeah.
And I was actually working at a startup in London, which was turning coffee waste into biofuels. And I was working really, really closely with the founder. And the founder was my age. And he had raised millions to go and build this huge factory that was turning coffee waste into energy. And I just looked at him and I always thought, oh man, I I want to be him. I look up to him. I think it's amazing that he's built so much with his experience and is able to now take that and turn it into this amazing idea. So it was definitely in the back of my mind. And when I then moved from the UK to Germany, and when you make such a big change in your life and you're really thrown out of your comfort zone, I don't know German. I was thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do in Germany. I think that really helped because I was already doing something that was so scary that then doing something even scarier, like starting a business, is fine because you're already out of your comfort zone. But when you're in your comfort zone, it's so hard to say, no, I'm going to give up what I'm doing now and I'm going to take this leap of faith. So I think, yeah, already moving countries helped me get out of my comfort zone. And then the idea had come, but I was really not sure, like, when do I pursue this, or like, when's the right time? And then I learned that there really is no right time. You just have to start and see what happens. So I thought, okay, if I do this now, I think now is when I'm ready. I've got 8 years of work experience under my belt. I know what it's like to work in a startup, in corporates. I have some savings to get me started. And if I don't do it now, I don't think I'm ever going to do this. So I think it depends on like when the right time is for you in your life. But I also think you just have to take a leap of faith. Like there will never be the perfect time.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, wow. That's so beautiful. You were pushed out of your comfort zone and then you were like, okay, let me go even further and push
Might as
myself.
well.
Now is the right time to, take that risk when I'm feeling, I guess it's not never easy settling down in a new country and, trying to make a home out of it.
Yeah.
I've been there, you've been there. I think a lot of people are going through that similar situation, but they don't talk about it. They don't, they feel homesick or they feel like, okay, I don't belong, and it takes time to build that up as well.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful way of looking at it, pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. And also, like you said, there would never be the right time to start something that you're so passionate about. And I think it was probably like a gut feeling that that said, okay, Alina, I have savings now, I have experience. If nothing works out, I could always go back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like what's the worst that could happen is what I thought. I mean, you can fail, but even if you fail, you'll still learn. So it's okay.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love that. Failure is the best teacher, like they say.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And then you can use that in the next job interview.
Yes, yes. I feel, Alina, I talk to a lot of students, and they just fear failure so much, and they think that recruiters are going to take that negatively and frown upon it. But I think, like you said, it can be a beautiful story that you share with somebody, and that's more human, in fact, to tell somebody that I failed and I didn't take it to heart, and then I did this with my failure, which is wonderful. Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about Kleiderly then? What was the idea? What behind it? What do you guys do? And a little bit more about the industry that you're a part of and how other people can get into this industry. Yeah, sorry, lots of questions there, but yeah.
No, don't. I'll try and summarize it, but if I forget something, then do let me know. So I really, I've been working in the waste sector for a while, and I wanted to really combine my passion of the fashion industry with the passion of sustainability. And I thought, I see clothing waste all the time. I was definitely a contributor to this. And at the time I was also traveling around Tanzania. My family's also from there. And I saw so much waste that our Western countries have now passed over to Tanzania and other countries in Eastern Africa. And they're like, here you are, here's your donations. And actually, they don't really want our waste. And so I started to think, okay, what can I do with this? This is a lot of textile waste. There's no real life for it. They're either burnt when clothes have no life anymore, or they are just sent to a big landfill and dumped there, and that's it. And I thought, okay, this is something that you can use, right? Like you can take these textiles and turn it into something new. So it took a long time to get there, but we basically developed a process to turn all of these old clothes into a plastic form, so a hard pellet of plastic. And that means that you can take all these clothes that don't have a life anymore, that were never been donated to anyone, can now be turned into a plastic, and that plastic can be used to produce products. So you can make things like chairs, tables, water bottles, anything where you see a hard plastic, it could be made from old clothes. And it solves two problems. It takes these clothes away from the landfills, you stop burning them, but you also don't need the plastic that you would have needed in the first place to make the tables or the chairs or whatever you were making. So it took me a really long time to like really develop the idea, get there. We filed a patent on the process. And that was also a whole scary thing, because you have an idea and you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to talk about it because, you know, what if just a big company tries to copy it? So filing a patent like really gave me this sense of comfort that I can even talk about it in the first place. And what we do now is we help fashion brands. So fashion brands who say, okay, we've got all this waste, we don't know what to do with it. We help them to create this circular economy by taking the waste from them and turning it into products for them. So I think it's definitely revolutionizing the way the fashion industry is seeing textile waste, because I think before they felt like it wasn't their problem. But it's also really cool to speak to some brands where I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm speaking to this brand. I'm a huge fan. So it's really exciting.
Wow, wow, Alina, that's revolutionary. You know, I feel not many people are in this industry, or to even talking about it for that matter. This is fantastic stuff. I'm mind blown right now. Wonderful. That's great. So I'm sure, you know, it hasn't been easy to be an entrepreneur. As you said, a woman of color, like being a woman itself is a challenge as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And on top of that, if you're a woman of color, there are additional challenges. Would you want to share a couple of challenges with us, just so, you know, the audience also resonates with, you know, no matter how successful you are, there will still be people,
Yeah.
or maybe, you know, there may be days that you doubt yourself as
Yeah,
well. Is there any
um,
instance that comes to mind?
quite a lot. I'll try and pick the best ones.
Yeah.
I think like definitely one thing I learned in this space is that you need to have the right connections and the right network to even get an investment from an investor in the first place. And that's something I didn't know before. So I was really naive, trying to meet investors, applying to their various websites with my pitch deck, thinking, oh, great, you know, like someone will give me money. And you realize that actually you need this kind of warm introduction to investors, because they always getting messages with people sending them their pitch deck saying, oh, look at my amazing business. And how do they filter through that noise is just by the recommendations of their network. And that's a real problem when you come from a different background and you don't have that network in the first place. And it's the reason why less than 0.5% of funding goes to women of color and less than 2% of funding goes to women. And that's a huge problem. Like this, and this will only be solved if more women are put in front of these investors, because there are enough women building businesses. It's just that they're not getting the investment. So I really struggled with building that network, and especially moving to Germany, I didn't really know anyone and having to start that from scratch. But over time, I met a lot of people. I really put myself out there, kept going to events, kept doing different programs to meet people. And then you start to realize everyone actually knows everyone in the whole space. So once you meet a few people, then you meet others. COVID helped a lot, because a lot of different calls were happening online at that time, so you could meet so many more people, and people were really open to having a Zoom call, even if they didn't know you. But it was also like the help of certain people in my life who I'd met, who were helping me introduce what I was doing to other investors. So that was really, really helpful. I definitely faced certain challenges that I think maybe if I was a white male, I wouldn't have faced. For example, a lot of people were doubting that I even came up with the idea in the first place, and they didn't really understand. And I kind of felt like I had to prove, I'm an engineer, this is my background, I know what I'm doing, and this is what I'm building. And I'm not sure if necessarily a white counterpart would have felt or have received the same kind of questioning around why I had come up with the idea. So it was really tough to kind of bridge that, build confidence in other people. But what also helps is, I noticed that investors really kind of follow your journey. So when they meet you the first time, they don't really know you. So you kind of have to build your credibility by just being there, showing up, kind of like being in the space, following them on LinkedIn, and like keep updating the whole world on what you're doing. And eventually they're like, oh, okay, maybe I should know what that person's doing, because clearly they're still existing and their business still is still running. So it was kind of like breaking through the network and then building confidence in others. And unfortunately, as much as I like, it's annoying that I even have to like do this, but certain things like the Forbes accolade were really helpful in people kind of believing in me a bit more, because there was external validation from other kind of sources that, oh, okay, you know, this person's building something interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, wow. That's so much to unpack right there. So just summarizing a little bit. So you said it's important to, have a network because you never know who can introduce you to someone else that may be beneficial for your own career, whether it's a new job, whether it's you're starting a
Yeah,
new venture, etc. So
definitely.
talk to people, talk to as many number of people, introduce yourself, tell them what you're doing. And you also said a little bit about credibility, right? So, like, Irina, I keep talking about this. I think it's just nobody's going to talk about you as much as you can talk about yourself, right? Like it's nothing to do with anybody else. Like you said, creating awareness like on a platform like LinkedIn is also important. Like I don't know what is all the great stuff that Elena has done until she puts it out there somewhere, or
Exactly.
or I meet her through someone, right?
Yeah,
So you have to be tooting your own horn sometimes, and you have to tell
yeah,
people that I'm capable, and I've done all this great stuff. I have the education to back it up, the degree and the experience, and I'm here to build something amazing. And
and
yeah,
it
that's
does
amazing.
feel tough though, right? Like it was really hard because before this I did not post on at all on LinkedIn. Like it took me 9 months to even write that I'm a founder. And I was doing this program run by Google. It's a female founder program. And I was meeting all these amazing women. I was meeting all these like investors. And I was like, oh my God, if they look for me on LinkedIn, there's going to be a big question mark because I haven't written anything about Kleiderly. I was so embarrassed to call myself a founder. And then I realized, no, it's okay. You can call yourself a founder and you need to push yourself to like speak about what you do.
Wow,
But it
wow.
can feel like there's definitely imposter syndrome for
I
sure.
was just gonna say that imposter syndrome hits the best of us. It's not just somebody who's starting their career. Yeah, that's beautiful, Alina. Thank you for sharing your story, and it's so inspiring to me as an entrepreneur, and I'm sure to everyone you meet who's on a similar journey as you. Alina, so now that you've been an entrepreneur for a while, and you've been through the struggles of building your credibility, your network, and now you've achieved a certain, let's say, reputation in the market, and people know about you. You said Forbes helped you with that external validation as well. So now you must be meeting people who are, let's say, 5-6 years behind you on the same career path. What do you see them struggling with, and if there was an advice that you could give to somebody other than what you already said, that's all great pieces of advice, but somebody who's woman of color in a country that they are trying to build their network in, or maybe some mistakes that you made that you can share with them if they're just starting their journey. What is the advice you would give to somebody who's wanting to be an entrepreneur?
I would definitely say that, like, looking back in my journey, I don't think I knew enough about the way investment works, the way investment works from a venture capital perspective, where the way it works from an angel investor perspective, how government grants work, and generally just how to build your business if you're looking for external funding. So I would say really like take the time to like educate yourself on how they work. And sometimes you may realize that actually you're not looking for venture capital for your business, because with venture capital, they're really looking for something that's going to scale really, really fast and it's going to become a unicorn and you're going to exit your business and sell it in 10 years. And if you have built a business where you're like, I want to do this for the rest of my life, I do not want to sell my business, then you definitely shouldn't be looking for venture capital or maybe even angel investment. So I think just doing these kinds of, this sort of homework around what you're building and really asking yourself these honest questions. Do you want to build something that you will sell? Or do you want to build something that you want to do forever? then it will help you to kind of figure out your path. I think a lot of founders who I meet don't necessarily know that difference. And so they think they need money, but they don't realize what that means. That means now answering to your investors. That means having a board of directors who you have to present to. So it's very different to if you're running your own business, but you don't have, investment. You can kind of take it at your own pace. So I would really recommend that people really think about the kind of business they want to build. I would also say, I definitely recommend things like the Y Combinator, and all of their content is just so incredible. There's so many different podcasts and books that you can read. But I would also say find your local networks or your communities. For example, like Founderland, we want to build that home for women like us to help one another. And I think that this really, I think I definitely underestimated how important it is to have founder friends when I started. Like now they're my closest friends because they understand everything I'm going through. And I can't explain it to someone who doesn't have a business because they don't understand it. And it may look more glamorous from the outside, but there's so much risk involved. And sometimes it's so nerve-wracking. You're never having a day off. You're always thinking about your work. And so having friends who are in your position is really helpful, and you help one another. You can talk about things and kind of go through the journey together. So I'd say find your network, educate yourself on the kind of business you want to build, find your founder friends because they will help you, and find all the podcasts, books, whatever you think works for you.
Oh, that's amazing advice, Alina, especially for me because, I have a lot of friends, but they are mostly employees. They're in full-time jobs. And like you said, entrepreneurship can get lonely sometimes because people don't resonate with where you're coming from, and you're always on, and you always have to be thinking about all these little things that you need to get done. So completely, that's a great advice. And for those of us who are female founders, who we should join Founderland and maybe fill out that application.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Wonderful. So Alina, if we could go back in time and you could give one advice to 20-year-old Alina and all the 20-year-olds that may be watching this right now, what is that one advice you would give to that young and confused Alina? Or maybe not so confused, maybe she was not so confused.
I was. I would say believe in yourself. The thing I have definitely struggled with my whole life is not believing in myself and a really huge lack of confidence. And now, like, the more things I do that put me out of my comfort zone, the more kind of things that challenge me, I realized, oh, I can do that actually. I thought I couldn't. And it felt like it was a huge mountain of stuff that I couldn't figure out, but I can do it. So really believe in yourself because you can do it. And I would actually say, don't listen to people who say that you can't do this. Because I've had a lot of people say to me, no, you can't do that. Or you can't have a baby and have a business at the same time. Or you can't do this and you can't do that. And I'm like, no, you can actually. And you can run a business in a country where you don't know the language. It is totally doable. You just need to force yourself, and you need to overcome that, and don't let other people put their limitations on you, because maybe they can't do it, so they say to you, you can't do it, but you know what you can do. So believe in yourself.
Oh, that's beautiful advice. I wish we met when I was 20. Oh, that's wonderful, Alina. That's wonderful. Yeah. So believe in yourself. Don't let other people, bring their negative beliefs onto you. Just shut them off, and just keep doing what you're doing. And I think this building the confidence is a journey, and it takes time, and you have to expose yourself to those situations to build the confidence that you have today. And I was such an underconfident 20-year-old. I can't even tell you, but I think it takes practice, and it takes time in putting yourself in those experiences and uncomfortable situations. Wonderful, Alina.
And the more you do it, the better you get at it. And then you're like, oh, wow, I did all these amazing things I thought I couldn't do. So maybe I can do more. And then you start challenging yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Then you can go to the next level. If you achieve one thing, then go to the next. Wonderful. That's great, Alina. I think I've had such a great conversation with you. One final question that I always end my Instagram lives with is, what is your long-term vision for your career, or even for Kleiderly and Founderland? Anything you want to share with us? Anything big coming up?
I think I really look to the future, and I just think of how can I help people like me build businesses. And I know that I want to do that through at some point being able to support them with capital. So I've been doing a lot to educate myself on what it's like to be an investor, so that at some point in my life, one day I'm able to give capital to people like me who 10 years ago, or 10 years later on their journey that I was a few years ago. And so I definitely think that's at some point on the horizon. But the other thing I want to do is just leave the world in a better place than it was when I came. So if I can do something to help someone, if I can do something to make the world a better place with my career, I will. So I have helped many people with, I don't know, however I can, whether that's reviewing their pitch deck, whether that's introducing them to someone that they wanted to speak to, whether that's, I don't know, just speaking to them about their career. So if anyone wants any help or advice, I'm happy to give it. I'm not necessarily saying that my opinion is the right one, but I'm saying that like I'm happy to help.
Oh, that's wonderful, Alina. Thank you. I'm definitely going to reach out to you for help.
Yeah, we should have a call.
Yeah, we should. Wonderful. So anybody who is looking for any advice, please get in touch with Alina on her Instagram, follow Founderland and Kleiderly, and also maybe follow you on LinkedIn. I think that's where you
I spend most of my time on LinkedIn.
Okay,
yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So find Alina on LinkedIn, and thank you so much, Alina. Have a wonderful Sunday. Thanks for taking out the time to talk to me today.
No, thank you so much for having me, and we'll definitely should have a call.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Awesome.
Take care.
You.
Take care.
Have a nice
Thank
Sunday.
you so much. Thanks
Bye.
everyone for joining. Bye.